6 p.m. in Jindom, that is in the Momo Division, Northwest region of Cameroon. Same time right here in Akwa. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. First, our major stories. The situation is becoming increasingly critical as insecurity looms over several parts of the far north region of Cameroon. Boko Haram fighters have killed a second-class chief of Sungol alongside some of his notables. Some villagers, out of fear, have begun fleeing the village for safer localities. Away from that, we'll take you to the Bamenda-Bengui stretch of road, which has once again gets blocked by separatist fighters, restoring unbearable suffering and devastating hardship that the people had experienced when the same road got blocked for close to a year. With fresh bitter memories of what they went through, the people are in total panic and are sending distress calls to the administration. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. If you are just joining us, then know you are watching the 6 p.m. news on Equinoxe television. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. A speeding truck has killed 2 commercial motorcycle riders, one in Douala and the other in the hospital runabout neighborhood in Bamenda, while a newly wedded couple narrowly escaped death as their vehicle tumbled off the Andem neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision. Smart Gabriel has the details of these stories in the following report.
A truck stationed without its driver. Blood stains all over on the road and abandoned sleepers. There were some of the visible things one could see upon his arrival at Karufusape neighborhood in the Douala 4 subdivision. A truck has taken away the life of a civilian, but witness is blamed the bike rider.
Bike to be the camp.
The truck was about to make a turn at the roundabout when a speedy commercial motorcycle, in an attempt of forcing itself through the back of the truck, knocked the last passenger on the bike, since there were 3, and then later walked on his head. For his safety, the truck driver took refuge at the firefighter brigade in Bonaberi. In Bamenda, it was a commercial motorcycle rider who was crushed to death by a speeding truck at hospital roundabout. The lifeless body of the bike rider was deposited at the mortuary of the regional hospital. At Andem neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision, a vehicle transporting a man and a woman tumbled off. It was in the same car the man and the woman traveled from Bafusam right up to Douala. Sources say the man recently got married to the woman in Bafusam. Fortunately, none of them was injured.
Smart Gabriel reporting there. Away from that, insecurity remains a nightmare for inhabitants of the far north region who for the past years have been facing Boko Haram attacks. Recently, the second-class chief of Sungol and other notables were killed by terrorists, as Ese Lucilengu tells us in this report.
Insecurity has escalated in the 8 villages of Mokolo Montaigne, located in Mayotsanaga division of the far north region. Recently, the second-class chief of Sugle, Mjida Lagua, was shot dead at close range by members of the Boko Haram set.
Bon, ils étaient sur le lieu, les terroristes étaient avant eux.
Adamu Musa, an elite of Sugule, says the incident occurred while he was on patrol with members of the village vigilante committee.
The vigilance est le chef traditionnel du village Sugule.
In neighboring villages, 4 notables from different chiefdoms have also been killed between September 4, 2024 till date. At least 7 people, including traditional rulers, have lost their lives. An inhabitant of Sugule says the situation has left them in fear and most of them have abandoned their villages.
Exactement
Our fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters cannot sleep at home. Most of our health facilities are closed and ambulances burned. In order to restore security in the concerned areas, traditional rulers and elites of Mokolo Mountain met with the senior divisional officer Mayo Tsanaga. The people discussed on how security measures can be reinforced so as to bring back peace and reunite families.
Vos frères et vos sœurs et tout qui sont des traîtres, s'il faut couper le cancer, il faut le couper.
Responding to their plight, the SD of Mayo Tsanaga, Dang Jean Bosco, has ordered in-depth investigation to track down the terrorists.
From the far north region, we now take you to the northwest region where the Bamenda-Bengui stretch of road in that part of the country has been blocked by separatist fighters. To ease movement, drivers who ply the road have decided to take upon themselves to rehabilitate the Bushi-Bali stretch of road. They are calling on elites for Momo Division to come to their aid, as Smart Jikan Gabriel tells us.
On the stretch of roads in the Bali forest are drivers who transport people from Bamenda to Bengui in Momo division of the Northwest region. These drivers who struggle for their daily bread are looking for means to rehabilitate the road, which has now become their only way out after the blockage of the main road from Bamenda to Bengui by suspected separatist fighters.
It's a testament to the fact that the elites have a lot of work to be done, and it's testament to the fact that the efforts are insufficient and grossly unappreciated. Because as of now, if you remember very well, Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Janute, during his last consultation with actors from the divisions of the Northwest region, had really urged municipal authorities to do their best to talk with those who are taking arms against the state and to coerce them into understanding government's efforts in handling the crisis.
A driver believes that the Momo elites are not doing enough to solve the matter, as they rarely come out to speak to their people.
The division has a minister, he has a commissioner for education, he has a secretary general at the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, he has a senator, he has MPs. We did not see these officials even for once organize a tournament just to keep these children alive and keep them united. All these efforts are always necessary to keep them under check.
Before this blockage, inhabitants of Mbengui went for over 4 months without using the main stretch from Bamenda to Mbengui, which was economically better than the road the drivers used to carry them to Mbengui.
A very difficult situation for people living in Bengui and equally out of Bengui. Now we take you to Juditsa. It is an agricultural herb found in the Menwa Division West region of Cameroon, where farmers whose outputs are destined for major cities in Cameroon and neighboring countries, but the population are still living in abject poverty. They attribute this to the extremely deplorable state of the road networks leading to their farms. Innocent Aze reports.
Juditsa, a locality in the Menwa division of the West region, is endowed with fertile soil favoring agriculture. The outputs here feed not only Cameroonians but also people in Central Africa. In a week, more than 80 trucks climb here to get foodstuffs. What we cultivate is sold to Cameroonians and business people from other countries in Central Africa and even business people from Sudan.
Les avocats, les pommes de terre pour leur population du Sahel.
These cultivators farm in large scale but are still poor.
Nous produisons et nous restons pauvres.
Absence of a good bridge and tarred road networks leading to the farmlands constitute reason for their poverty. With the wooden bridge and slippery seasonal farm-to-market roads, buyers bargain cheap. We get cheated due to the nature of the roads. Some of the buyers complain of spending a lot to evacuate the crops over unbearable conditions of the farm roads. A situation that was worsened by the collapse of the main bridge It took the farmers quite some time to mobilize efforts to restore the bridge. They synergistically rode trunks of trees over the stream to create a new bridge. Though aware the bridge would not last long, they implore help from the council. The bridge will help for a short while, but we beg municipal authorities of the Nkongzem Council to help us build a solid bridge. These farmers in Jutsisa believe if they are provided tarred farm-to-market roads and a resistant bridge, they will make a lot of proceeds from their farming activities. Many will be motivated to delve into agriculture.
With the rise in fake news, dissemination, and hate speech in Cameroon, the network of human rights defenders in Central Africa, REDAC, steps up the fight against these social ills. It recently grouped human rights defenders, journalists, and other participants in Douala to impact them with skills and tools that will enable them to disseminate credible information to their audience and equally become advocates of peace. Innocent Aze once more reports.
The Cameroonian society is critically bleeding from the growth of fake news and hate speech, despite organization of seminars and conferences to drill Cameroonians on ways to combat these cankerworms. They still have their suckers attached to the walls of the Cameroonian society, causing great damage.
When we are treating some sensitive information, we need to have the right information. We don't just have to go to internet and take any information with all the fake news that we have in internet.
The Network for Human Rights Defenders in Central Africa, REDAC, and other human rights associations continue to wage a relentless fight to rescue Cameroonians from the ills.
It's just looking to the context we have in Central Africa with socio-political crisis and insecurity, conflicts, that leads us to think that journalists, human rights defenders, and other people need to have some skills, practical skills, to combat misinformation, disinformation. So we have to develop some skills and some tools to know which information is a good information and what is the bad information.
Participating in a REDAC training on physical and data security, fact-checking and creation of a brigade on misinformation in Douala, participants affirm it is possible to build a Cameroon free from hate speech and fake news should everyone walk on the appropriate path.
I need to check the facts. I need to be very careful while navigating online, knowing full well that I may have some fake news, I may have some misinformation, I may have some disinformation online, and I really have to make sure I verify. I go online, verify all my facts, and check everything and make sure everything is correct before disseminating.
Hate speech and fake news have provoked a series of intercommunal conflicts, divisions among people, destruction of personality and institutions in Cameroon.
Innocent Aze reporting there. The Minister of Public Works has promised public opinion that the second phase of the Douala-Yaoundé double carriage highway will not be executed beyond 36 months. Speaking to the launch of works on the 441 kilometers long distance road, the minister said the second phase, which will cost 800 billion francs CFA, will be as beautiful as the first phase but will not be the same delays. It should be noted that the first phase took over 10 years to be completed, as Fomi Armstrong Sanda tells us.
Launching the official start of works in a Budi village of Ngongma Pubi subdivision, Cameroon's Public Works Minister Emmanuel Nganu Jomesi says the much-awaited second phase of the Douala-Yaoundé double carriage highway will not be executed beyond 36 months. The second phase will not delay like the first phase for many reasons. The executing company has gained experience from the first phase and will capitalize on that for a better second phase. We have also learned from the first phase.
Ensuite, c'est la même entreprise.
Conscious and worried that the first phase took over 10 years to be executed, the minister called on the company to invest richly and multiply project sites in order for the phase 2 to be as beautiful as the first phase within 36 months.
L'entreprise a s'investi.
One of the major scandals of the first phase was the non-payments of indemnities to locals, and the government of Cameroon, through the Minister of Public Works, does not want a repeat of this.
Les mesures d'anticipation.
We have adopted preemptive measures, and I can assure you that not a building, a structure, nor a property will be brought down without due compensation.
Aucune exploitation ne sera détruite.
With a total length of 141 kilometers plus a 34 kilometers length of secondary road stretches, the Douala-Yaoundé double carriage road will be linked with existing road infrastructures on the National Road number 3 at entry points. The Douala-Yaoundé motorway consists of the construction of 6 bridges, 31 overpasses, 15 lower crossings, and some 331 dallots. There are also plans to build some 6 interchanges, 1 toll plaza on the motorway, 5 toll plazas at the level of ramps, 3 service areas, 3 parking areas, and a total of 4 maintenance centers.
And in a similar story, economic planning experts say the execution of public projects in Cameroon is abnormally expensive compared to the cost of some projects in other countries in Africa. Commenting on the projected 1,000 billion francs CFA for the Douala-Yaoundé double carriage highway, the experts say the money is way too much, and as a result of bottlenecks in the contract of award procedures in Cameroon. Once more, for me, Armstrong Sander with the details.
The Douala-Yaoundé double carriage highway will at the end of the day cost over 1,000 billion francs CFA from the Cameroonian state coffers, 300 billion for the first phase from Yaoundé to Biboudi, plus over 800 billion francs CFA from Biboudi to Douala, which is the second and last phase. With a total distance of just 200 kilometers, experts say that 1,000 billion as cost is way too much.
Moi, je crois que c'est très excessif.
I think the amount is extremely excessive, and we do not understand why. This same Chinese company is the same company that constructed the 96-kilometer long Yamoussoukro-Bouaké double carriage highway in Côte d'Ivoire at just 172 billion. So why will they build a 200-kilometer stretch for 1,000 billion in Cameroon? According to Emmanuel Konye, ambiguity, complexity, and the multiplication of actors in the public contracts awards and execution process in Cameroon contributes to the adoption of exorbitant budget in this project. In Cameroon, a kilometer of double carriage road is 270% more expensive than the same distance in Côte d'Ivoire. We are in the same economic and geographical position with Côte d'Ivoire. So I do not understand the differences. I think we need to review the procedure to award contracts in Cameroon.
Parce qu'on ne peut pas expliquer.
With a distance of over 141 kilometers, the second phase of the project, launched on October 2nd, 2024 in Biboudi, will be executed within a period of 36 months, according to the Ministry of Public Works. The first phase of the project, with a distance of just 60 kilometers, took 10 years to be executed.
That report done by Fomi Armstrong Sander ends this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for always choosing ETV. Coming up next in some few minutes is Equinoxe Soir, presented by Serge Alain Otu. See you next weekend, but stay in the company of more interesting programs. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye for now.